Forgotten is a song that waited for me. I've had the experience several times in my life. I think a lot of people have. You hear something and you're either lukewarm on it and it grows on you, or more often for me, I really like something, but it's not exactly salient and it doesn't stick with me. Too Cool to Be Forgotten is definitely one of those songs for me. I probably heard it first on AOL radio in the early 2000s, and I liked it. I've always liked Lucinda Williams' voice and her songwriting, but I wasn't a Prince fan yet, so I was turned off by the typography and stylization of the title. It was kind of obnoxious to me, but I liked it, but it didn't stick with me. Fast forward 6 or 8 years, I'm friends with a lot of Michiganders, folks in and around Detroit, and one of our friends, Patrick, is a huge fan of Lucinda Williams, and particularly Car Wheels on a Gravel Road, the album from which Too Cool to Be Forgotten comes. He shared this enthusiasm with our friend Olivia, who loved the record and wanted to play songs from it, and insisted that I listen to it. I was really confused at the time. I had a lot of misunderstandings about what makes music important to people, and what makes music salient to people, particularly country music. I had this notion of demographic appeal of country music, and I thought it had a lot to do with race and class and geography. I thought that I loved country music because I was raised by Southerners. It was a heritable thing. But Patrick didn't really fit into a lot of the conceptions that I had about country music and country music fans, because country music is so heteronormative. So when I started listening to Car Wheels on a Gravel Road in Sirius, I listened to a lot of it through the lens of what would make a gay man love this record. And it's informed a lot of my views on media and music in the interceding years, because I finally had to recognize that the relationship between a person and a man, there's a lot of commonality, regardless of whether or not that's a heterosexual or a homosexual relationship. Men and toxic masculinity, it's everywhere. It doesn't matter how that person identifies. If they're raised masculine, it's gonna be there. Too Cool to Be Forgotten is a very straightforward and very complex song. It deals with a lot of issues of permanence and impermanence and magical thinking. It all culminates in a verse that starts, "I had a lover and I thought he was mine." The verse ends with the lover asking the narrator to jump off the bridge with him. And she says, "I told him, no way, baby, that's your own death, you see." Interweaved into the whole song is this repeated phrase, Junebug versus Hurricane. And Junebug versus Hurricane is just such a powerful, 3-word line. It crops up over and over in the song. And it can be taken a number of ways. There's the futility of fighting that hurricane, and that's, the impermanence of art and of our lives is articulated in that. But when you see it in a romantic context, when you see it as that man is the hurricane, and that woman or whomever loves that man is the Junebug, that's my favorite. Because you see Lucinda Williams, who is this strong, powerful, bluesy, badass woman, still falls into a relationship with a man who wants her to follow, wants to be a leader, and wants her to be a follower. And she doesn't want to be a person who follows. There's that tension between that masculine idea of my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my spouse is supposed to do what I say, or follow me to the ends of the earth, or off of a bridge. And the tension lies between that and the person who is got some kind of self-preservation, has some kind of identity of their own, and wants to express that and wants to be their own person. So Junebug versus Hurricane, a lot of us have been the Junebug, and a lot of us have been the Hurricane. But I think that coming from the perspective of understanding relationships with men and the men as hurricanes and who we are as Junebugs, really helped me to understand why gay men and straight women have so much in common in terms of experience and in terms of dynamics in relationships. So, yeah, it's a great song, even if you don't, dig in, but great drumming. But yeah, I encourage you to listen to it. It's on a playlist on Spotify. I'll put a link in the doobly-doo. And I just said doobly-doo for the first time in years. I'll put a link to the Spotify playlist. You can listen to Too Cool to Be Forgotten and all of the other songs that I may cover on this in the future. You can, campaign for one if you want to hear a specific story next time or the next time or what have you. And I will see you later.